It's the president's 100th day in office.
It's really become a benchmark of presidential performance.
Wait a minute.
Oh, you know what? I was just going to jump on you for that.
Uh-oh.
We have conflicting music beds.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Okay, that's better.
Well,
What's this about? This is my show prep time.
I know. Dory Monson, I can see, has invaded your show prep time in the studio right now.
Aren't you off playing basketball this hour of the morning normally?
No, I'm usually whipping up some fervor that I can go off on at noon.
Do you guys agree on
Seriously?
the president's first 100 day in office at all?
You know, what we agree on is we were just talking barbecuing right before we went on the air. We agree that barbecued pig is excellent.
Freshly roasted barbecued pig is the most delicious meat there is.
Yeah.
Now, how they're raised is something different. Although the last barbecued pig I had was shot in the wild, so it was probably clean.
You probably have swine flu.
I don't
No,
think
I
that's
don't.
what you
That's
guys
probably
were
what-
supposed to be talking about.
Oh, that's right, the 100 days.
Since we agree on food. Well, I think it's pretty clear that after 100 days, Barack Obama has brought the change he promised and gets an A. Dori?
You know, I'm not enough of a presidential scholar to rate every administration, but I think clearly this is the most disastrous first 100 days of any administration in my lifetime.
Disastrous first 100 days of any
Disastrous.
administration in your lifetime.
In my lifetime. I mean, look, do you know how much our
Even
state
Jimmy
budget,
Carter?
our Washington, yeah,
You were born then, right?
yeah, worse than Jimmy Carter.
Worse than Jimmy Carter.
Our Washington state budget that everybody's been wringing their hands over is about $32 million for 2 years. Barack Obama has added $65 billion of federal spending per day for the first 100 days. He's added $6.5 trillion in federal spending. He has more than doubled the size of the federal government in 100 days. It is going to lead to either massive taxation or massive inflation.
Or perhaps massive recovery.
Well,
Who has been harmed by his spending plan so far?
our kids. Our kids
Our
that
kids have been
Democrats
harmed?
were so concerned about when Bush was on his wild spending spree, which is a valid criticism.
Well,
of
your
George
kids are
W.
younger
Bush.
than mine. But my kids, the first thing my kids want is a job. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, that's working out really well. The recovery's going fantastic.
Well, actually, who knows? Suppose he'd done absolutely nothing. Do you know that unemployment wouldn't be worse? Do you know that more companies wouldn't have failed? How is the unfettered market system doing before the government leapt in?
Well, for somebody who believes, and I truly do, that you could shrink the federal government, a year ago we could have shrunk the federal government 70%. And still function fine, which is what this whole 10th Amendment and Texas cessation and
I noticed Texas is taking the money, as is Alaska.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous that they were talking about that. But to double the size of the federal government, the TARP money, there's been no accountability, very little. A lot of that money's gone offshore. And what we've seen is that the banks, instead of loosening up the credit markets, are further restricting the credit markets right now. And I've told my story on the air about those weasels at J.P. Morgan Chase, where they're restricting the flow of cash. It has done nothing to help the recovery.
If you qualify for a loan, you can get it. I mean, that's the big difference. You can't get a liar's loan anymore, which you didn't approve of anyway, right?
No,
you gotta
absolutely.
if you can put down 20%, you can get a home loan.
And why is that a bad thing? Because personal debt is not a good thing. Now we're adding $6.5 trillion of personal debt to Americans in the guise of big government.
You just criticize the banks for not granting loans. I've told you, and you agree, don't you, that the banks are going to give loans to people who put the 20% down, which is the responsible way to do it. What's wrong with that? The reason that many of these banks are still even open and able to give those loans to those with 20% down is because they were bailed out.
But you've just contradicted yourself, because what you've said is that the banks should be more accountable, that they should be more responsible, they should be more restrictive in who they give money to, while at the same time we are supporting...
Thanks to government regulation.
What we're doing is we are supporting a federal government being less restrictive in how it borrows, in being wilder in its spending spree. And I do not believe that tripling the national debt is a good thing, just as I believe that tripling personal debt or state debt is a good... It's not. All debt is inherently a drag on individuals and on economies. And we are going to drag our economy for decades to come.
Capitalism doesn't exist without debt.
Managed debt is a good thing.
Exactly, and that's what this is. This is, so far, and I don't know how they've done this, but so far, apparently they've been able to spend this money without just printing it. They've actually been able to borrow it on the market. I mean, it's strange, but for some reason, China's still willing to lend us money at zero interest rate.
Where's the $6.5 trillion going to come from?
How's the president doing in his first 100 days, anyway?
It's a disaster.
He's doing great.
It's a disaster.
See, exactly what we thought we would get from Dave Ross and Dori Monson.
You know what? I'm just going to replay this noon today and let the calls flow. I don't think either one of us has to do any work today nowadays.
The best thing is Jane and I just got 10 minutes off. I want to thank you guys. I just had a minute.
Hey, we're not done, though.
Oh, yeah. You'll be continuing in the green room.
That's right. That's right. Log on here, the green room conversation. Be all about roast pork.
Thanks, gentlemen.